There's a certain danger in even suggesting that one game might be the greatest game ever made. It feels arrogant, definitive, like you're trying to place a crown on the medium itself, a medium that is unarguably subjective. Because that title doesn't just belong to a game with good reviews or impressive sales, it belongs to the rare work that defines an era, that influences not just the players that played it, but the industry itself on a wider level. Something that changes what players expect from a game, what studios aim to deliver with their own titles, and what we talk about when the credits roll. And don't get me wrong, there are many, many games within the wider conversation of best game ever. The Witcher 3, Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption 2, but as I've seen firsthand from my own deep dives into what makes these games great, for everyone who thinks, yes, that is the best game, there are vocal objectors to that claim, demanding instead their favorite game earn the crown. And Elden Ring is one of those games that comes up time and time again as a title worth discussing as the best game ever made. So today we will do just that. From its unique artistic vision to its brutally hard gameplay and its wider influence within the games industry, we will dig down into everything that people love and hate about Elden Ring, as we discuss, could it be the greatest game ever made? When Elden Ring came out, it felt like a game designed with absolute conviction. FromSoftware didn't compromise, didn't sand down edges, didn't chase mass market trends. It leaned into difficulty. Oh, and they leaned fucking hard, didn't they? Mystery, ambiguity, things most publishers treat like the plague, yet it became a cultural earthquake anyway. A moment where even people who had never touched a Souls game were suddenly glued to streams, memes, boss fights, and let's plays, trying to unpack the exact same question we're asking today. And that's what this video is about. Not hype, not nostalgia, but a genuine attempt to understand whether this game stands as one of the greatest ever created and why. If you like deep dives like this, please do consider liking and subscribing. And hey, if you're feeling really fruity today, you can even become a channel member. It means I can get coffee, and I do love coffee. Before Elden Ring, the open world genre was at a crossroads. So many games were stuffed with icons, checklists, and repetitive side quests, designed more to pad engagement metrics than to invoke discovery. Players weren't exploring worlds anymore, they were clearing them. And I do squarely land the blame for this on Ubisoft, you can fight me if you like, but it's their fault open worlds got shitter. Elden Ring broke that cycle in the most spectacular way possible. The lands between didn't guide you with a map full of distractions, it didn't beg you to follow the main story, it didn't explain its rules or its dangers. Instead, it made curiosity the most powerful tool in the game. Every direction you walked feels like it could lead to something monumental, to a boss that will make you question your sanity as you sighed loudly and try for the 50th time not to get smashed like a pancake at an all-you-can-eat buffet at 3 AM next to that strip club you were told not to go to. FromSoftware refused to mark anything for you. They trusted your eyes, your instincts, your imagination, and they refused to hold your hand. Even when you wanted them to, like really wanted them to. But much like my parents, instead they just gestured at the world and went, there it is, figure it out, and don't come crying back to me if it hurts you. And that trust transformed exploration into something modern games had almost forgotten, a genuine sense of wonder. You weren't following a to-do list, you were following your own story. Elden Ring's world is designed like a puzzle box, layered, interwoven, full of small mysteries that build into larger arcs. The further you go, the more you realize how much intent lies beneath every stone. Nothing is random, nothing is filler. Even the empty space matters because it gives the world a sense of scale, of loneliness, of ancient history slowly collapsing under its own weight. This is world building not as content creation, but as storytelling. And in that sense, the lands between isn't just a map, it's a character all of its own. For over a decade, FromSoftware honed its combat design like a blade. Dark Souls gave the genre its identity, Bloodborne injected ferocity, and Sekiro introduced precision and discipline. And each one of them made me question my sanity in uniquely different ways. Elden Ring is the culmination of all of it, of decades of learning from every game made. The combat is fast but methodical, punishing but fair, chaotic but readable, at least eventually if you really pay close attention. Every swing has weight, every dodge feels definitive, and every boss fight transforms into a performance, a duel where the game demands not just mechanical skill, but emotional investment. I'm actually not sure if it does demand emotional investment, but it certainly gets it nonetheless. To be honest, how many of you rage quit mid-millennia fight? I will not trust anyone who says, I didn't. But the true mastery of Elden Ring's combat lies in its flexibility. It welcomes every playstyle. You can be a glass cannon mage, a defensive tank, a face-scaling paladin, a dual-wielding monster, a bleed build that melts bosses in seconds, or a pure dexterity player who treats every fight like a rhythmic dance. The game doesn't judge your choices, it empowers them. It gives you the creativity to play the world how you want. And then there are the bosses. Creatures and warriors so iconic they feel etched into gaming history. Malenia, Radan, Godfrey, Morgott, Mog. Every battle feels like an event, a defining moment where the game tests everything you've learned up until that point. And every player's journey is different. Mine was mostly spent crying. Some beat Radan in minutes, some spent hours learning Malenia's every frame. Some breeze through early game bosses only to get obliterated by Margit. I am confident I'm butchering these names, but I have a nice voice and that surely counts for something. Modern games talk too much, or at least that's certainly a criticism levied at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Elden Ring, like all FromSoftware titles, speaks only when it needs to. It gives you a world full of mysteries, characters you treat like a participant in a story that began centuries before you arrived. NPCs aren't exposition machines, they're fragments of broken histories. Each has their own tragedies, loyalties, obsessions. Ranni, whose ambition reshaped the fate of the world. Iron Fist Alexander, who embodies courage in such a strangely charming way. Goldmask, who became a symbol of faith taken to its coldest extreme. And then there's the Tarnished themselves, a character defined not by dialogue, but by the choices you make. The genius of Elden Ring's narrative is simple. The game never tries to tell you its story. Instead, it invites you to assemble it, through item descriptions, environmental clues, passing conversations, and your own observations. The narrative becomes an iceberg, a massive, ancient, and mostly hidden beneath the surface. And that allows the story to feel not just expansive, but mythic. It feels like a legend you're uncovering, rather than a plot being messily handed to you. There is of course a difference between a successful game and a cultural moment. Elden Ring was quite unarguably both. When it launched, the internet erupted. Memes, boss clips, lore videos, fashion builds, co-op chaos, streams where people attempted absurd challenges. The fact that people somehow beat this game on a dance pad is genuinely insane to me. It became a shared global conversation, one of the rare moments where everyone, from casual gamers to the hardcore, was talking about the exact same game. And the reason is simple. Elden Ring was one of the last truly communal gaming experiences. It didn't drip-feed content through seasonal passes or require players to log in daily. It didn't try to be a platform, it just released. And trusted that the game itself was enough to bring people together. And it was. The community didn't form because FromSoftware designed one, it formed because the game inspired one. And that's not normal in 2022. I mean, it's not normal now in 2025. That is kind of historic. DLC is usually predictable. Elden Ring's DLC was not. Shadow of the Erdtree arrived with expectations so high they were almost unfair, yet somehow it exceeded them. The new regions, the bosses, the enemy design, the storytelling, it all felt like Elden Ring distilled into something even sharper. Like developers had more to say and they finally had the perfect canvas to say it. The DLC doesn't just expand the game, it completes it. It answers questions, deepens themes, and tests players in ways the main game never dared. Some of the hardest bosses FromSoftware have ever created live here. And they stand as proof that Elden Ring wasn't lightning in a bottle. It was a craft honed to absolute perfection by a studio that intrinsically know what they want to make and know what their audience want to play. A great game entertains. A greatest game transforms. Elden Ring influenced everything from future RPGs to open world design to how studios think about difficulty, mystery, and player agency. It reminded the industry of something crucial. Players don't want to be dragged through experiences, they want to be trusted. And Elden Ring trusted them completely. It trusted them to explore without markers, to learn without tutorials, to struggle without handholding, to triumph without assistance. In a world obsessed with accessibility, shortcuts, and player retention metrics, Elden Ring dared to believe that players could rise to the challenge if the challenge was worth rising to. And that philosophy has already reshaped the industry. Greatness is subjective. It's shaped by memory, by emotion, by the moment you encountered a game and the version of yourself who played it. But Elden Ring stands in a category very few titles stand in or reach. It's a game that blends world design, storytelling, combat, exploration, and community into something that feels both massive and personal. It's ambitious, it's focused, it's complex, it's weirdly welcoming for a game so hard. Mysterious, it's emotionally rich, it's brutal but fair if you can figure it out. And more than anything, it's a game that leaves a mark. So, is Elden Ring the greatest game ever made? For many players, for many critics, for many creators, the answer is clearly yes. And even if you disagree, one thing is impossible to deny. Elden Ring is one of the few games that truly earns the right to be part of that conversation. And in the end, that might be the greatest achievement any game can hope for. But I want to know what you think. Do you think Elden Ring is one of the greatest games ever made? Do you think it's one of the greatest open world games ever made? Or, like me, do you think that that spot is maybe reserved for other titles? But I would love to know what your thoughts are in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and until next time, something, something, something.